Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and I want to talk today about this situation with Gennady Golovkin and Danny Jacobs. The negotiations seem to have stalled a little bit. Danny Jacobs and his team asking for 40% of the split. The WBA regulations, I believe, are 75-25 in favour of the champion. So Danny Jacobs and his team want to increase their purse split to 40. A lot of people are saying this is ridiculous. He's taking a piss. He doesn't deserve it. He's not worth that. On the face of it, looking at it reasonably, yeah, it's difficult to argue against that. Golovkin's the champion. He's got 3 belts. He's got everything to lose. Yeah, I know that Billy Joe Saunders got a belt as well, but everybody knows that Golovkin's the champion at middleweight. He's the man. So to be the man, you have to beat him. He's also got a lot more fans, a lot more interest, a lot more buzz around him. He's got a bigger reputation, brings more money to the table in terms of TV revenue, ticket sales, etc. Danny Jacobs doesn't really bring much to the table. I mean, he's not a champion. He doesn't have loads of fans. Doesn't have a name as such. Doesn't have. I mean, he's got like a slight name. The only thing that you could say, I suppose, is that right now, whether it's true or not, the sort of perception is that the middleweight division is kind of easy for Golovkin and it's not particularly strong. Danny Jacobs is regarded as one of the best, so he's a kind of credible-ish opponent for him. Well, no, a credible opponent for him. It's not really looked at as a 50-50 fight, but it's definitely like a decent name on his record. And if he's beating him, Lemieux, well, no one can dispute that he's the best middleweight. But him, Lemieux, Murray, Gill, I mean, all of the best. Billy Joe Saunders, obviously, is the only one out there. We'll see what happens with him. But it is a good fight for him. So yeah, he kind of slightly, but no, he doesn't bring anything really to the table to suggest that he deserves 40%. One thing I would say though is when you're talking about percentage splits and just kind of you just accept this percentage split. In order to do that fairly, you need to really know exactly what the split is of what. So if, for example, it's $10 million, then yeah, 25% of that is $2.5 million. Can't argue with that. If you got that, sweet as. That's a very good amount for him. However, what if it's $3 million? Now, I'm not saying it is. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I have heard that recently HBO been making a load of budget splits, budget cuts. Sorry, money isn't necessarily there on the table for these fights at the moment. So what if it is 3 million? 25% of 3 million is what, 750 grand. It's not a lot of money, really. So I can understand why, in that instance, he'd be thinking, well, I could do with a bit more if I'm going to be taking on Golovkin, one of the best fighters in the world, um, the biggest fight of my career. Do I want to do it for 25% of a very small amount? So if it is going to be a very small amount, I can understand him wanting a slightly bigger split of it. But to me, that doesn't seem unreasonable. Even if you can. For fuck's sake. Sorry about that. Even if the what are you doing? No, even if the 25% might seem too much for a very small amount, then I think the person with the bigger split of it should be prepared to take a bit of a loss. It's not really like a loss, but sorry, just fucking put me off a little bit. Okay, so yeah, where was I? Yeah, 25% of a small amount. Is that really worth doing it for? I don't know. I'd like to see. I'd like to know exactly what the money on the table was. before I kind of pass judgment on whether or not he should accept that percentage of it. But I do think that, technically speaking, he doesn't deserve more than 25%. But you have to bear in mind the individual circumstances of the case. So Gennady Golovkin is one of the most feared boxers out there. His reputation as a power puncher, stopping everyone, putting people in hospital, he's got all this kind of hype around him doing that, and they benefit from that in terms of like the kind of the fans being interested, the hype, etc. So part of that is that other people are going to be they're not going to be in a rush to get in the ring with you. So you have to kind of take the rough with the smooth, I think. If you do have that reputation, then yeah, it's good and you've got all the good stuff about it. But there's also a flip side to it where potentially you might have to come up with a little bit more money for people. And if they want to make the Danny Jacobs fight, Kieran, what the, if they want to make the fight, then that's maybe what they're going to have to do. So, as I say, I would like to see what the amount was before I really said if that was fair or not. One thing I would say, Danny Jacobs really, I mean, we say that obviously Golovkin could be kind of giving him a little bit more money because of the situation, but at the same time, Danny Jacobs has an opportunity to be the man. He has an opportunity to win 3 world titles. If he doesn't want to do that, then it's not very impressive, is it? I mean, I can understand from a financial perspective how they want to get more out of it, but you've got an opportunity to be the number one here. You can beat Golovkin. You've got a big punch. You have a chance of winning. You're a good fighter. You can win, and if you don't want to take you don't want to take your opportunity to be the man and beat the man, then yeah, I won't be very impressed. People use the word like coward. I don't call people cowards really. I don't like that kind of style. It's overused in my opinion. People like kind of personally, I don't expect people to do things that I wouldn't do myself. So as it stands, I'm not a professional boxer. So not saying that I wouldn't do it if I was in his position, but for me, as a boxing fan who enjoys watching boxing, I'm not going to sit there and start, really enthusiastically like labeling people cowards and getting into all that. That's not really my style. But I wouldn't be particularly impressed by it. Let me say that, and I wouldn't be that interested in Danny Jacobs' career after this if he turns down this opportunity. If that's what it is, I mean, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what is going to happen. But just hypothetically speaking, if he has an opportunity to fight for 3 world titles, become one of the man in boxing in his division, and he turns that down because he doesn't want to be the best, then why would I be that interested in what he's doing after that? I see it like that. But who knows what's going to happen? We'll see. Would I be that bothered if it doesn't get made? Well, to be honest with you, it doesn't really look to me like, so far anyway, like Danny Jacobs and his team really want to make the fight, and it hasn't looked like the case for a while. I mean, why is this fight happening? It's happening because the WBA are enforcing or basically forcing a mandatory challenger to fight the champion. So would he be fighting if it wasn't for the WBA trying to get a challenger to fight the champion? So this to me tells me that Danny Jacobs or his team or both are not really that keen to make the fight. And if that's the case, does he really think he can win? If that's the case, should I really be that interested in seeing the fight? You know, I don't know. I want to see the fight where he thinks he can win. So if maybe he does, maybe I'm just speculating. But if he's not interested in being the number one, and he's that good, he's at that level, then I'm not really that interested in what he's doing. Same goes for Billy Joe Saunders. He's got his opportunity now. He's very heavily criticised in the past for what went on. Um, I talked about that in another video. He says that he's up for taking the challenge now. If he is, then great. He wants to be the man, test himself. If he isn't, then I won't be that interested in what he does in his career. If he's as good as he is, and he doesn't want to push on and really try and be the best, then I, you crack on, mate. You do whatever you want to do, but I'm not really going to be following it particularly. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's basically what I think. The fundamental points. Firstly, that no, Danny Jacobs doesn't deserve 40% of the split. However, if it is a small amount, then possibly Team Golovkin should give him a slightly bigger split, because a smaller split of very little is going to hurt you more than a bigger split of very little. So, if they want to make the fight, then they should do it. But, if it doesn't happen, then I'm not really that bothered, to be honest with you, because I want to see a fight where people both want to do it. I'm sure there are other challenges for him, but yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, let me know what you lot think. Thank you very much for watching.